This shit. All right, here we go. What's up? We're back. Kariligan Studio video for you. It's all on, it's going to be on the things that all the platforms, channels, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, we love to talk about the arts, books, craft, design, decor of the Philippines, Filipino American art, Filipino American artists, etc. And I like to do this little series called "Why'd You Buy That?" Yeah, exactly. And it is, you know, Antiques Roadshow meets Oprah's Book Club, but not as woo woo. And so today we're featuring these guys right here. See that? Ta-da! So cute, so pretty. Not even cute, they're beautiful, right? They're heavy, they're substantial. Two of them. So these are brass bookends, and they are clamshell. I'm sweating a little because now it's hot in here. I've been trying to do this video for like, this is like the fifth freaking take. And then here are these. These are pineapple bookends, also brass. Yeah. Why did I buy it? Because I wanted to. And actually, because I collect books. That makes sense. They're bookends. And also the clamshell ones, that's actually from my girlfriend. She bought them for me for my birthday. So shout out to her when we were all hanging out for my birthday with peeps, and it was a present. So that's really cool. And then I ended up seeing another pair of them, and I was like, I want them, and I got them. But anyways, here we go. Why did I get those? Well, I felt inspired to buy those because I had read a book. Yes, I read a book. There is a book called The Aloha Shirt, and it is by Dale Hope and Gregory Tozian. I hope I'm not butchering that, but yeah. So anyways, there is a book about the Aloha shirt and the history of the Aloha shirt. It's a really pretty book. I've given it away as I'm sorry, I'm like a little you know, sweaty, but I've given it away as a gift. And when I read it, I first of all, I purchased it in a coffee shop that's local here to Ventura. Didn't even know like it was gonna be that inspirational, because like I don't even think they understand that the timeline and the history of the Aloha shirt actually is the timeline and history of the making of an American icon by Asian Americans and the Pacific Islander community. That's what it is. And I was like, wait a minute, this what? And when I read it, I mean, I think they were more highlighting maybe the surf aspect and some of the design aspects. But when I read it through my eyes, my Filipino eyes, I was like, wait a minute, all the things they're mentioning here about this Aloha shirt, which a lot of people like think of as, you know, a guy at a car show wearing a very you know, whimsical, fun, sometimes loud shirt. Yeah. And like, or Aloha Fridays, which again, casual Fridays, that came from the Aloha shirt. A lot of people think that's like, oh, okay, it's like Hawaiian. It is. And it's also very Asian American Pacific Islander. That is the Aloha shirt. So I say that because I like the book so much, I actually pitched an idea to the museum, of Ventura County about doing an exhibit about it, because I thought it was like really important and it would actually be a beautiful exhibit. And because the second edition of the book was actually put out by Patagonia. See this? That's right. This was put out in 2016. An updated version of the Aloha shirt by Patagonia. And Patagonia is actually here in Ventura. That's right. And there's a whole history of that. You know, there's a Pat Aloha shirt, which was from the 70s. And Patagonia started in 65. And, you know, the Aloha shirt was all about counterculture. But we will go back. So we're going back. The Aloha shirt, according to this book, and then like my own my own research, which... Look, I'm not a historian per se, and this is not a research paper, although it could be, you know. The Aloha shirt, the version you know now, that was influenced heavily by many things, including the agricultural workers that were in Hawaii. That's right. Hawaii had a lot of plantations, and the plantations were sugar and pineapple, and there were workers on there who weren't the people who owned those plantations, if you know what I'm saying. Okay. And they needed agricultural workers. And who were they? They were the Chinese, the Japanese, the Filipinos, and yeah. Okay. So they were the people back in the day. Their garments are what influenced the Aloha shirt now. So here's this is how at least my interpretation, and knowing the history of the Filipinos, you know, the agricultural workers, they needed to wear a garment which was heavier to be able to withstand the elements of the soot, the dust, being in the sun and not tearing while they're working. And that garment was known as the palaka. And the palaka is a blue and white checkered denim garment. Okay. And that's what they wore when they were in the agricultural fields. Now, there are a lot of people out there. Maybe there's a different name for it. Maybe you know it by a different name. Maybe there's even more other garments, but that's the one that I read about and I looked up. So if you have other ideas, put them in the comments or DM me. We'll try to figure it out. Again, the fact checking, history is what it is. Okay. So that's what they wore. Right. And then, also the fact that, the Filipinos and the Japanese heavily influenced the tailoring of the Aloha shirt and the fabric, because the Filipinos, the tailoring is the tail out part, you don't tuck in an Aloha shirt. I mean, I don't know if you do. Is that's kind of strange to me, but you don't. And if you think about it, how can you tuck it in? You're working, like that's going to make no sense. Along with, if you look at an OG barong, that is not a tuck-in shirt. That's a tail-out shirt that you're meant to wear, like an undershirt under that. Even the fabric, it's light. It's made of piña cloth. So, but okay. And then the Japanese, the fabric for the Aloha shirt, at least the OG ones back in the day, they're lighter. They were lighter because they were unlined kimono fabric. So that's kind of where a lot of that part, the shape and the fabric. And then you have the design. The design is based on Tahitian design, the batik of, Batik, which also the Philippines has, but Tahiti, and then I want to say Indonesian. I'm not sure about that. I mean, I know batik is around the world. I even think African countries have batik as well. So the designs started off that way, very, what you think of as an island design. And then all of a sudden, now, later on it got all kooky. But so when the Filipinos, came from the Philippines as contract workers to Hawaii, they were known as the Sakadas, they join up and they're in the fields with the Japanese. Chinese, there was already the Chinese Exclusion Act, so I don't know if they were still, dominant in the agricultural, but again, they all influenced what we know now as the Aloha shirt. Okay, so that's kind of where, and why, when I see a pineapple, I was like, oh yeah, pineapple, the plantations, it's like the thing that pineapple is a tropical fruit and it's delicious, but I do think of that as well. Okay. And then, if we think about these guys, the shells, right? These guys, they housed a pearl, and the pearl, the Philippines, the Manila used to be known as the Pearl of the Orient. That's right. Like, people don't know that before the war, because Philippines, or Manila, was a major trading port, and it was known as the Pearl of the Orient. Yes, that's right. So these make sense, and they're beautiful, and they're bookends. And again, if you want to read about the history of the Philippines, I think my last post was about a great book about the history of the Philippines back then and now. And then there's a lot of books about the history of Hawaii as well. They're great. But here, fun fact, the largest pearl in the world was found in the Philippines. Yes, yes. The largest pearl in the world was found in the Philippines, and it was called, hold on. They named it hold up, wait a minute. The Pearl of Lao Tzu. That's right. Or the Pearl of Allah. Because a lot of people don't know that in Mindanao, South Philippines, has a big population of Islamic religion, or what was that? Because in the old school they call it Mohammedan, but it's Muslim. There you go. So, yeah. Okay. So, all right. Anyways, and I don't know if Pearl of Allah, that's where that came from, but it could be. I could be wrong. Tell me. But the point is, the largest pearl in the world, which weighed 14 pounds. Yes, 14 pounds was found in Palawan, Philippines by a fisherman. He was out, and guess what he was looking for? Clams. Yes, he was looking for clams, and he found this like clam, and it had a huge ass pearl in it. And for years, you know what this dude did? He had it, and he kept it at his house for good luck. He didn't even he did not sell it or anything. And then when he had to move many years later, it's like somebody discovered or saw it and was like, yo, that's crazy. That is a major, it's insane. So the largest pearl in the world was found in Palawan in the Philippines. So there's that. And also, the shell, it's a symbol of resistance, resilience, and, a connection to the ocean. And then we go back to, okay, connection in the ocean. Right. How all of, how Filipinos got from the Philippines to Hawaii to the United States. Ta-da! So a little wrap up of the Aloha shirt, just in case you wanted to know. And you can buy that book on the places. Okay. And just so you know, I actually have the vintage version of that book. Yes, I say vintage, even though it came out in 2000, and I'm like 2000, but yes, that was 25 years ago, I realize. And this is actually the vintage version of that book, the Aloha shirt. It's the first one. Isn't that amazing? And I found it in an antique store after I had read and given away the other book, right? And the book is super, it is a really, really, really pretty book. So, so to wrap up about at least the Aloha part of the Aloha shirt part, which hopefully made sense to you guys. The production of the Hawaiian shirt stopped when it was World War II. Right. World War II has so much to do. It's such a crazy rich history, but right. It stopped. And then you know what they did? They ended up because there were so many Hawaiian shirts being made during that time. It ended up they weren't doing it. And then the golden age of the Hawaiian shirt is 1950 to 59. And that's when you saw the Hawaiian shirt in a lot of movies, right? Tourism, the Hawaiian shirt was there. And then what happened is counterculture came in during the 60s and 70s, and Hawaiian shirts became associated with surfers and stuff. And then 1965, Patagonia over here was created. And 1965 is also when a lot of, I wanted to say Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, but that's the 80s. So that different decades. But there you go. So the Aloha shirt is the confluence of native art, right? Plantation worker uniform, international fabric, and global design techniques, resulting in that iconic shirt that you see. And the Aloha shirt is the creation of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. Ta-da! And yes, so I have books that why'd you buy that? That's why I bought it, because there's a history and a story to tell about it. Ooh, and yeah. And then here's another book that I loved so much. And I've highlighted it before, but it is really one of the best books I've read about the Philippines pre the